How to protect yourself from insurance fraud. Hey there, my name is Sandy. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Central Florida area as well as a licensed loan originator. Today I want to do a video for you on how to protect yourself from insurance fraud. We've been doing quite a few different videos over the course of time. We invite you to like and share our channel if you like the content that we put out. You can also click on the notification bell so you'll be notified each time we put a new video out. So let's talk about insurance fraud, which is a very big and touchy topic. And I'm talking about this based upon interviewing an attorney that is familiar with that our firm uses a lot. And this is his advice to you. So I'm just telling you what he told me. I am not an attorney. Big disclaimer, I am a real estate agent, not an attorney. So the first thing that he says is when you have a claim with your insurance company, the insurance company is not going to be in your favor because the purpose of the insurance company is to make a profit. So if you have a claim, they're going to find the cheapest way to satisfy that claim, which is why they don't like when you hire attorneys, and it's based upon what the claim is. But the first thing is they're not going to work with you fairly. They're not going to be in your best interest. You might think they're in their best interest, but they're not. They're in the interest of what's the best way, what's the quickest way to solve this, paying us, the least amount of money. Of course, some insurance companies do have, they prepare for these losses and they expect a certain amount of loss per year. But when it comes to big disasters that nobody could predict, like hurricanes or earthquakes or a winter storm or whatever it is, we're going to have more people coming up with claims in the same area. And based upon the insurance company and their pocket size determines how well they deal with these claims, because they don't want to go into bankruptcy paying out claims, which some insurance companies have done. So their goal is, and especially if they're not the best insurance company, if they're kind of scrupulous, they're going to find different ways to work around getting you the cheaper deal. So you got to be really careful in the insurance company that you choose whenever you take out a policy and what their track record is. And more importantly, what is their track records when it comes on to filing a claim with them? Very, very important. So the first thing is, don't let your mortgage bank, when it comes to a home insurance and you have a mortgage on the property, don't let your mortgage bank choose the insurance company. So if you get a letter in the mail that says something around the lines of, hey, we see that you don't have insurance for the property, or the insurance has ended and you didn't renew it, or any of that stuff, sometimes it's just a matter of crossing mail. But whenever you get any of that stuff, the bank is going to always say, you have until this date to send us your insurance information. If we don't receive this, we're going to just get an insurance company for you. Most of the time when the mortgage bank get the insurance company for you, it's going to be very high premium and very little coverage. So you don't want to do that. If you get such a mail in the mail, call the mortgage bank, especially if they're the ones that's supposed to be paying the mortgages, because this happens sometime when they sell the mortgage. So they might sell the mortgage to another company and they forget to tell that company that your insurance is escrowed. And then the insurance company now send the bill to the first company that you were with, and they're saying, hey, we don't have the loan anymore. Or they just completely ignore the mail. So, and that has happened to me. So next thing you know, the new company has no idea it's supposed to be escrowed. I had to argue with these people for 4 months for them to realize that the insurance is escrowed in the mortgage, because they keep telling me it's not escrowed. And on top of this, they had a different company that dealt with their insurance, the insurance part of the bank than the loan side. So you call in with the loan, the mortgage itself, they're like, oh, you got to talk to our third party company that deals with all our insurance stuff. Call the third party, oh, we don't see that your insurance is escrowed. Called but the lender, oh no, we just signed it and said it was, and it was like bing bong bing bong. So you want to be very diligent with this and make sure that the insurance is paid, because they were trying to charge me $3,500 for insurance when the insurance was really $1,200. And I told him, I said, you guys are going to pay for the lapse. If there's anything happening in the lapse, you guys are going to pay for it, because this is not my fault. I did not sell the loan. They happened to sell the loan in December, and the next premium was due in December. And the company that sold it forgot to tell the new company, oh, by the way, you need to pay the insurance. So they have no clue. So that's a big one. Another thing is you got to document everything. Make sure you have documentation. So every time they were sending me a letter with stupidness, I would put up the letter. Every time I call, I put the date and time I call and who I spoke with and exactly what the conversation went like or what happened during the conversation. So I had all the documentation. So you need to document every single thing every time, whether you have a claim in or they forgot to pay your insurance premium or whatever the situation is. Make sure you document everything so you have a paper trail. Next thing is decide who you want to work on your property. So when you put a claim in for insurance, for flood or whatever it is, the insurance company does not get to dictate who works on your property. They could send you their estimates. They're going to send their estimator out and all these different people is going to come out, but that doesn't mean they get to choose who actually do the work. So you could choose who works on your property because sometimes some insurance companies have certain contractors that they work with and all kind of craziness go down under the table. So you want to make sure you're choosing who you're working with. And another thing is don't be afraid to hire an attorney. So if you have an insurance claim out and you figure this is insurance fraud, the insurance company is saying, no, you weren't covered for X when you know you were covered for it, hire an attorney. Which leads me to another thing. When you're taking out an insurance policy, guys, and I know a lot of times when you're buying a house, I know this because I'm an agent, a lot of times you're buying a house, everything is expensive, everything is coming at you, and you're shopping for insurance for the property, and you're comparing different companies, and you're saying, wait a minute, company A is charging $1,200 and company B is charging $900. I'm gonna go with company B. Don't just do that. Find out what's covered in company B. Find out what there's a discrepancy in the price. If 3 different companies is giving you 3 different prices and you're kind of wide apart, you need to find out why. What is being covered? What's not being covered? What's your deductible? I always try to, my insurance coverages that I get, I normally try to keep $1,000 deductible or less. Because I know when the day comes and there is a claim, I am not going to have $5,000 to come up out of pocket with, and I don't want to have to come up with $5,000 out of pocket. So I want to make sure that my deductible is $1,000 or less. When it comes to properties, definitely $1,000 or less. When it comes to my car, I don't want to have to come up with too much deductible because life is too unpredictable the older you get and the more you realize, wait a second, I'm playing a game here. What if something was to really happen and I have a $5,000 deductible? Do I really want to take $5,000 deductible to cover this claim? And the insurance company is only going to cover over the $5,000. I'm sorry. So if the claim is $3,000, you're on your own. What if you don't have $3,000 to come up with at the time when this occurs? Because, you know, life is unpredictable. So I say go with the lowest deductible that you could find without killing yourself. Of course, you got to make sure the premium makes sense. And make sure you know what's covered. Is hurricane covered? What's the hurricane coverage? Are you covered for flood? Are you covered for water leak? What is covered? Because there's, I had an acquaintance I know, and she bought a property, investment property, and she took out insurance, and she thought, you know, flood would be covered if a pipe leak. Well, it just so happened that during renovation, after buying the property, they were renovating the property. During that renovation time, somebody turned on, the water was supposed to have been turned off. Somebody turned on the water and it flooded the house. Guess what? The insurance company says, I'm so sorry, but you were not covered for flood. You weren't covered for that. It's not our fault that the pipe leak and flood the house. You're not covered. She just bought the house. So she was able to get things done, but not everybody will be able to do that in that situation. Some people just walk away from the house and say, well, the bank could take it because I don't have the money. The insurance is not covering it, which is not the best choice, obviously. So you want to make sure that when you're getting insurance quotes, that you know what is covered and what's not. And if there's a company higher than the other company, is it apples to apples? Are they actually covering the same stuff and this other company just want to ask more, right? Next thing I'm going to touch on a little bit is car insurance. I'm not a car dealer. I know nothing about cars, but the one thing I'll tell you is this. When you have a finance car, right? If you finance a car, the bank that financed the car will not allow you to drive around with just liability insurance. They want you to have full coverage. Why? Because if something happens, they want to make sure they're covered and the engine is covered and they don't get sued and everything is on the up and up. Why wouldn't you do that for yourself? So if you own the car outright, why wouldn't you get full coverage as well? Because guess what? Full coverage is cheaper on an older car than it is on a newer car. So if you're saying, well, you know, it's 2025, my car is 2000 or 2012 or, you know, it's 10 years old or whatever it is, I don't need full coverage. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, because if you get into an accident, there's that, right? What if you're on an income where you only have this one car to take you from point A to point B? You only put the least amount of insurance on it. You get into an accident, and guess what? They're going to pay the other part that you got in an accident with, but you won't get paid because you don't have full coverage. So you got to be careful with that. So make sure that you understand insurance, understand what is covered, understand what. Don't let some insurance company, you will be covered for the thing, and they try to convince you you're not. You're gonna have to go in your policy and read if you're not, or if you are covered or not, or maybe are an attorney. So that's something very important for you to look at. Make sure you know what you're covered for, what you're not covered for up front before you sign any insurance documentation. Make sure that you're keeping abreast of your property insurance, that if it's escrowed for the bank to pay it, make sure the bank is paying it. If the loan gets sold, make sure that it's transferred over to the new lender so they know that your thing is escrowed. If you get a thing in the mail so we don't have a copy of your insurance, call the bank immediately and nip that in the butt real fast. You don't want that to linger. All right. Thank you so much for listening, guys. This is getting too long. I don't like to do long videos. Our information's up here if you have any questions or any want to do a consultation with us, it's fine. We don't charge for any consultation. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.